Hare Krishna. Welcome devotees to the Gita Daily session. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita 8.28. So thanks to all devotees who have joined. So let's start by taking the blessings of the Lord, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maya Sudarshan, Lakshmi Narasimhadev, God and and Panchatattva. Let's pray that by their blessings we can understand the transcendental topics of Bhagavad Gita. So let's recite the prayers. Om Etnanatimirandasya Nananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's dedicate our session to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society of Krishna Consciousness. By His mercy, we are able to understand Bhagavad Gita and also able to apply in a way that is practical. So let's thank Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we will be discussing 8.28 Bhagavad Gita. Let's recite the shloka. You can repeat after me and remain muted. वेदेषु यत्नेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत्पुण्यबलं प्रतिष्ठम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं सानमुपैति चाद्यम्. Repetition. वेदेषु यत्नेषु तपस्सु चैव दानेषु यत्पुण्यबलं प्रतिष्ठम् अत्येति तत्सर्वमिदं विदित्वा योगी परं स्थानमुपैति चाद्यम्. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme abode, supreme eternal abode. So let's see the word to word meaning. Vedeshu, in the study of Vedas, Yatneshu, in the performance of yatna, sacrifice, Tapasu, in undergoing different type of austerities, cha also, eva, certainly, daneshu, in giving charities, yet that which, punyaphalam, results of pious work, pradishtam indicates, atyedi, surpasses, tatsarvam, all those, idam, this, viditva, knowing, yogi, the devotee, param, supreme, sthanam, abode, upaidi, achieves, cha also, adyam, original. So we'll recite the translation again. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of these of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So this is a very, very important sloka, where actually the Lord actually is describing the results of devotional service. And also, the summary is that all other pious activities, the results of all other pious activities is automatically contained for one who is at a performing devotional service. So, this is the superiority of devotional service and how actually it surpasses all other processes. So, let's see, go into some more details of the today's sloka. So, what are the key points we'll discuss? So first, actually, the Lord. Before that, we'll just set the context. So we are discussing the eighth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is attaining the supreme. So last few days, we were discussing this chapter, and this chapter is very, very important actually. So it gives the formula for achieving the ultimate success. Right? We saw how the entire life is like a preparation, and death is the final exam. And whoever actually is able to remember the Lord at the time of death, they don't take birth again in this material world, right? And they can attain the highest, topmost abode of the spiritual abode of Goloka Vrindavan, right? Where actually they can associate with the Supreme Lord. So, and the last session we discussed how actually one who attains highest perfection, he never comes back to this material world. We have seen in the last session also what are the material planets, right? And how we saw everywhere in the material world, right? There is this four miseries: birth, death, old age, and disease. Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. So, whatever activities we perform, right? So today's sloka is actually giving, is continuation of that same topic. So in this sloka, the Lord is saying the various pious activities, the studying the Vedas, Vedic scriptures, performing fire sacrifices, performing austerities, performing dana, charity, right? So Veda, Jnana, Yajna, Tabas. So these are considered as one of the four important dharmic activities, right? So what is the essence of today's shloka is that we have to understand that bhakti or devotional service is transcendental. It is not anything of the material world, right? So basically, we have in the previous sessions we have discussed the Vedic scriptures actually gives us various information. There are various sections in Vedas, and generally we saw the Vedas are a manual for the human life, right? So just like the machine has a manual on how to operate it, so the body which is received by the soul is like a machine, and the material world actually is the place where the jiva is spending his time. So the Vedic scriptures generally gives information how one should live in this material world. It also has information how one can be happy in this material world, right? But actually, the acharyas understood, and great sages like Vedavyas, they have concluded in Vedanta that actually the human life is not just meant to enjoy for enjoyment, right? So we have seen that the material world is an illusionary place, and the Maya is bewildering the jiva, and the jiva tries to enjoy here. So, and in this process, actually, he attains karmic reactions. He attains punya and pava, and he gets entangled in the cycle of birth and death. But actually, the real purpose of Veda is, we have seen it. No, Veda Isha Sarver Ahameva Vedyo. So Krishna says the purpose of really knowing Veda is to understand the Supreme Lord, right? What is our original identity? What is the relationship with the Lord? And how we can get out of the cycle of birth and death. So the Vedas contain different sections. We have this Varnashrama system we have discussed, the four Varnas and four Ashramas. So most of the Vedas talk about how we can live in a harmonious way in this material world, how everybody can coexist, and how one can execute dharma and do punya, and how we can be happy, right? We can go to higher planets. This is the basic thing. So Vedas provides a way by which one can gradually elevate to the transcendental platform. So most of the Vedic scriptures talk about these things like etnas, tapas, etc. But actually, these things will not really free us from the cycle of birth and death. They still entangle us. And what is the topmost purpose? Like we've seen the three karma, right? Karma, vikarma, and akarma. So karma is activities as per the scriptures, which results in punya, and vikarma is those activities which are against the scriptures, or adharmic activities, which results in pava. So when you do punya, you get the good results. You are maybe elevated to surga or higher planets, or you may get birth in a very rich family. You can enjoy it, right? So this, but actually, this results in bondage because you have to take birth. Similarly, pava also take results in other births, right? Lower births, like it could be animal, birds, etc. But that also binds the jiva. And akarma is that only activity which can free from the cycle of birth and death. So akarma is devotional activity that actually our spiritual activity, which actually is related to the connected to the Supreme Lord. Right? So today's sloka says that we should not think that okay, when we perform bhakti, no, we are inferior. So generally people have this conception that no, because somebody is old or no, they cannot do anything else. They do bhakti or they just chant holy name, which is completely wrong. So Acharya says, so we have seen in the past session. So bhakti is the topmost path. And Lord actually in this shloka, it is saying that one who is performing bhakti, so he gets the result of all other activities, right? Whatever is all the so-called pious activities, it is already contained in bhakti. But the bhakti, a devotee's aim is not to attain punya. No, he is not desirous of attaining punya because he knows that punya is binding the jiva. Just so the a devotee is not desiring to attain punya because no, he knows that punya actually is not going to liberate him. No, it will still keep him in the material world. So so basically, but executing bhakti gives all the results, right? So we have already seen earlier also. One was it is mentioned in scriptures that if somebody is performing bhakti devotional service, right, and somebody or if somebody is chanting the holy name of the Lord, then it has to be understood that he has performed all the so-called pious activities in his past life. Many lifetimes he has done, unless and until he has done all these pious activities like like yetna dana, tapas. So he cannot come to this platform of bhakti. So this in the normal progression, this is what happens when somebody performs bhakti. It is to be understood that he has all done all these other pious activities, right? But at the same time, we are also seen in the previous session, the necessary and sufficient condition. So the necessary condition is to be pious, but then that is not sufficient, right? Unless and until one gets the mercy of a pure devotee, one actually cannot attain pure devotion. And sometimes there is something called kriba siddhi, right? So somebody may not have done pious activity, but still, by the mercy of a pure devotee, right, he may get that sukriti, right, which is missing, and he can become a pure devotee. So this example of Mragari, right, or Valmiki, no, Valmiki Muni, who was Mragari in the previous birth, he was very sinful person. He was killing animals, no, he was half killing, and he did many sinful activities. But because of Narada Muni's mercy, he became a pure devotee of the Lord. So that is possible. This is more an exception than a rule. But in the normal progression, actually, one has to perform, like one might have performed various pious activities in the past life. No, and then when he is performing bhakti, we have to understand that he has already done all those things. So the essence of the topic is that one who is performing bhakti is on the topmost platform. No, he is beyond all the modes. So we have the Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna, right? And generally, a person who is dharmic, who is performing these pious activities, he is on the platform of goodness, mode of goodness, Sattva-guna. But bhakti is actually transcendental, which means it is above the modes. It is above the mode of goodness. It is known as Shuddha Sattva. So it is a transcendental platform. So only by performing devotional service, one can actually attain the transcendental platform. So here are some things which we need to clarify. So typically, most of us, like, before we came in association with devotees, we generally had many misconceptions. So if you look at the normal people, they actually have many misconceptions. So basically, they do many rituals. Sometimes, they go to temple, they consult an astrologer, and astrologer will say, okay, you have this Shani dosha. You go to Shani temple, you donate this thing, this grain you donate, or you on this particular day you wear this dress. So many things are there. And people follow all these things because they don't have the knowledge about the highest truth, or what is the real purpose of human life. They don't have, right? And these people think that they are devotees, or they are actually performing devotional service. So this is a common misconception, right? And we also have this misconception, no? And sometimes we perform the rituals, or no, we have the family traditions. So all these things are fine, but and actually we should really go beyond that, right? So people think that, okay, no, I'm already doing this, I'm visiting this temple, I've gone to this particular temple, I have done this particular activity, I've done this homa. So they think that everything is fine and they are perfect, right? Which actually is not really correct, right? These things will give you punya, as we discussed, no? It will give you punya. So many of these activities, like yagyas, tapas, or these rituals, most of them are performed to please demigods, right? And we saw that the demigods are also part of the material creation, right? Even Brahmaji has a lifespan, which is very long, and the demigods has much shorter lifespan. So one day of Brahma, there are 14 manus, right? And this there are 14, and during the Manvantara, the post of demigods get changed, right? Just like our country, right? In our country, every 5 years the government change. The posts remain, like president, prime minister, all these things are there, but the people change. So similarly, the post of demigod like Indra, Varuna, Chandra, like all these demigods, like Shani, whoever it is, the demigods are post, and then they keep changing. So they are also temporary. Even demigods are also temporary. So in the story of Hiranyakashipu, when Hiranyakashipu does penance, very many thousands of years he does penance to please Lord Brahma. And when he asked Lord Brahmaji that boon that he want to be immortal, then Lord Brahma says he cannot give that because he himself, I myself, is not immortal. So the demigods also, their powers are limited, right? And the people worship demigods to attain material benefits. So when we understand that the actual purpose of human life is not to attain material benefit because they are temporary, because our lifetime is short, our life is temporary, even the demigod's life is temporary. Everything is temporary here in the material world, right? So if only people who are foolish or who doesn't have the bigger picture, they actually aim for temporary benefits. But a person who is understood the higher truths, right? They actually spend their life to find out a way how they can get out of the cycle of birth and death, and how can they please the Supreme Lord. So when the Supreme Lord Krishna is pleased, then all the demigods are automatically pleased. It is mentioned, no? It is, we have discussed that earlier. Just like watering the root. So Krishna is the root of entire creation. Everything comes from him, right? So when we water the root of the tree, or when we please Lord Krishna, then all other demigods are automatically pleased. So that is how, we just saw how everything is contained in bhakti. So when bhakti is performed, we don't have to do separate activities like other activities, no, like charity, austerity. All these things are not required when you do bhakti because everything is already contained because Krishna is pleased, right? So then we don't have to separately endeavor to please other demigods. So let's look at some shlokas which are related to this. So yes. So we'll look at Bhagavad Gita 7.23. So let's see what 7.23 says. So 7.23 says, Antavattu bhalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedasam devan deva yajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mamapi. So Lord Krishna says here, men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So, no, this is an alliance in agreement with the theme which we are discussing, right? How Krishna is explaining here, whatever we just discussed, right? So, whoever worship the Lord, they can attain the supreme planet of the Lord, right? Where actually we don't never has to come back to the temporary material world. But the demigods' planets, or the Swarga and other planets, are temporary. They are destroyed by every night of Brahma. All the lower planetary systems are destroyed. So that is temporary results, right? So whatever we are aiming is small results. No, normally people of less intelligence, what they worship demigods, they worship saying that I want to get this particular wife, right? I want to get this spouse, or I want to pass in this particular exam, or I want to get a good job, I want to get a good house. So these are all the things people normally pray to the god, right? But actually, now we understood from understanding all these topics in Bhagavad Gita that it is very foolish to pray for these things, because these things we are already achieved in many lifetimes in the past, right? And you are not happy, and we had all these things. So we have gone through so many thousands of lifetimes, or millions even, and we have achieved all these things in many lifetimes, right? Again, we are trying to get the same thing. So that is foolishness and wasting the human life. So the next sloka we look at is from Krishna Karnamrita by Bilamangala Thakur, verse 107. It says, Bhakti stvai stiratara bhagavan yadisyat devena na paladi divya kishora murti mukti swayam mugulan sevadasman dharmartha kama gadaya samaya pratiksha. So what it says actually, this sloka is very important. It says, if I am engaged in devotional service unto you, my dear Lord, then very easily I can perceive your presence everywhere. And as far as liberation is concerned, I think that liberation stands at my door with folded hands, waiting to serve me. And all material conveniences of dharma, artha, and kama stand with her. So actually, here, no, Bilamangala Thakur is a pure devotee of the Lord. He has direct darshan of the Lord, and he's saying that when actually liberation actually is inferior to bhakti. So when one who attains liberation, one who actually attains bhakti or pure devotion to Lord, for him, uh, liberation actually is like it'll wait like a maid servant. What it means is that pure devotees doesn't just think for liberation. So liberation means getting out of the free cycle of birth and death. So of course that is good to be liberated and get free from the suffering. But a pure devotee wants to always serve the Lord. So he goes beyond liberation. No, he wants to go to the spiritual planet of the Lord, or he can be in anywhere in the material world, but he always wants to serve the Lord. So the results, like normally the Vedic scriptures of Varnashrama system is aimed for attaining artha, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Right. So these are the four purusharthas. But actually, bhakti is above that. It's transcendental. So here, Krishna Karnamrita, Bilamangala Thakur says that one who is a pure devotee of the Lord, he is beyond these purusharthas. And actually, for him, liberation is automatic. So when one becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, liberation is automatically achieved. They are free from the cycle of birth and death. So we don't have to separately endeavor for becoming liberated, right? When we become pure devotee of the Lord and attain perfection, liberation becomes a byproduct. It's automatically achieved. So further, we see the shlokas 3. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:33-7. So it says, Aho batasva pachotagariyan yet jihvagre vartade namadubhyam tebus tapaste juhuvasashnurarya brahmanachur nama granati yete. So what it says, oh, how glorious are those whose tongues are chanting your holy name. Even if born in the family of dog eater, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at the holy place of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So, we have discussed sometimes earlier, what is the proof that actually whatever parampara we follow is authentic, right? So, a parampara which is authentic, they never manufacture anything. Whatever they say will always be based on scriptures. So a pure devotee like a acharya. So for us, our acharya, preeminent acharya, Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada actually has given commentaries on all the Vedic scriptures, like important scriptures. So here we can see, whatever we say, we cannot just say something. So whatever points I discussed, right, I'm just following what Srila Prabhupada is saying. And Prabhupada actually has given quotation. So here we can see what we just sometime before discussed, right? How everything is contained in bhakti, right? So here this sloka is very clearly explaining that. So here it is mentioned that person who's chanting the holy name of the Lord must have executed all kinds of austerities. So whatever in the current sloka says, right? Yatna, dana, tapas, etc. Right? So a person who has done chanting the holy name, he should have already executed all these things, right? And to be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed in all ways of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So this is a proof that everything is contained in bhakti. We don't have to do anything separately when we are performing bhakti. So one more shloka I'll say. So this shloka actually in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is 7, 9, 10. So this shloka says how a pure devotee or a Vaishnava is above a Brahmana. So normally in the Varnashrama we have Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, right? These are the four orders, and Brahmana is considered to be topmost, right? Because they are on the pure devotional, they are on the mode of goodness. Sorry, on the mode of goodness. So this shloka says, translation is, if a Brahmana has all 12 Brahmanical qualifications, but is not a devotee and is averse to the lotus feet of the Lord, he is certainly lower than a devotee who is a dog eater, but who has dedicated everything, mind, words, activities, wealth, and life to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee is better than such a Brahmana because the devotee can purify the whole family, whereas a so-called Brahmana in a position of false prestige cannot purify even himself. So this is not to say that Brahmanas are inferior generally. So just because somebody is born in a Brahmana, no, he may not become a pure Brahmana, right? So a Brahmana could be a ritualistic Brahmana who actually is performing his duties, but then he has not yet developed devotion to the Lord. So compared to such a Brahmana, a devotee who is chanting the holy name is superior. So bhakti actually surpasses all the varnashrama system. So that is the essential point. Okay, so I think we now will discuss a short story. So we'll look at from Ramayana. We have this Ravana and Vibhishana, right? They are brothers. So Ravana, we know we have discussed some time back actually. So his father was actually a Brahmana, and his mother was a Rakshasi. But essentially, still Ravana is considered as a Brahmana because no, he has learned Vedic scriptures. No, he has performed yajna, tapas, dana, and all these things, and he has jnana also. So he was a great scholar actually. So that way, he performed all the so-called ritualistic activities as per Vedic scriptures, right? And he performed sacrifices, he gave charity, right? But the problem was that he actually had also the asuric tendencies, right? And he actually gradually, he gave up all the dharmic path, right? So we saw that Ravana, did not attain any piety. Finally, ultimately, he lost everything. So when he, after stealing Sita Devi, he lost all his piety, and then that led to his fall down. On the other hand, Vibhishna, actually his brother, he was actually a devotee of the Lord, right? And then he took complete shelter of the Lord, right? So actually, there's a shloka which Lord Ram says in Ramayana. It says, "Sakriteva prapannaya tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarva bodhebhyo dadami edat vartma mama." So what Lord Ram says is that if anyone surrenders to me even once, saying, "I am yours," I grant him fearlessness from all beings. This is my woe. The Lord actually we've seen He's very merciful. He's saying that even if once a person surrenders sincerely to the Lord, then actually the Lord will take care of him. He will ensure that the person actually attains highest perfection. So Vibhishana is a case of pure devotee of the Lord. No, though he did not perform all these activities like Ravana performed, so-called ritualistic activity, but and he attained the highest perfection just by taking shelter of Lord Ram. So this illustrates the point that just by following the ritualistic path of Vedas, right, by doing all these austerities, etc., is not really sufficient. That will not completely liberate you. So sometimes people ask this question, okay, why are you just sitting and chanting? You're wasting your time. Instead of that, please help, go and help the people. Do some like open, some charity work or help poor people. So here actually we need to understand, these kind of mentality is from a materialistic perspective, is within the three modes. And when we look at the transcendental platform, we understand that the soul actually is just taking various bodies based on his karma, right? And all these things, even if you help somebody to a poor person to become rich, right, he doesn't really achieve anything permanent, right? At next birth again, he could become a beggar. So we should not look at helping the coat. Like when a person is drowning, if you save the coat of the person, right, there is no permanent value, right? The person will still drown. So just like when you look at the material platform or the bodily platform, you are seeing the external covering of the person, right? He may be a beggar, or he's a poor person, he's a woman, he's a man. So all these things are external vision, right? And if you try to just save the body or the person, right, it doesn't have any permanent results. So let's wind up today's session. So what are the key takeaways we can understand from today's session? So when we understand the highest perfection can be attained by performing bhakti, we will realign our activities in our life, right? And we should really evaluate the whatever activities we do, like our traditions or ritualistic activities. If we are performing, we need to really think that what is whether the result they bring is really beneficial for me, or is it bringing me the ultimate benefit. So we have to reevaluate our activities, our so-called ritualistic activities, what we're performing. We could stop and think about it, right? And in the family life, actually, we should also follow the same thing, right? We should give the knowledge to others. We should make our life, we should try to water the root. So try to have the Lord as the center of the house, right? And perform activities for the pleasure of the Lord. So this way we can realign. And in our work life also, always try to remember the Lord, right? So even though we may be engaged in various activities, that should not prevent us from remembering the Lord. So we should try to create different habits and activities such that we are able to always remember the Lord at work. With that, I think we end today's session. We come to the end of today's time. So, if there are any questions, no, devotees can unmute and ask. If somebody wants to leave, they can leave, or they can put it in the chat. Hare Krishna. Is there any question, devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, you are talking about the transcendental benefits. So, if a person is not getting transcendental benefits due to his past karma, and and what can he do in that situation if the Lord is not so merciful? He did so much sinful activity.
Hmm. Yes, Prabhu. So, there are 2 points, Prabhu. So, Lord actually is always merciful. The only thing is that we cannot see His hand, immediately. And second thing is
Mhm.
that devotional service, it actually, we have seen that, there are different stages in the progress of devotional service. Right? It starts with Shraddha. Ado Shraddha, Tada Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruji, Asakti, Bhava, and Prema. So these are the 9 steps. So though we may not immediately see the results, right? We may be making progress. And second thing is that it actually takes time, right, to attain, to become purified from our all past sinful activities. So we might have done so many lifetimes, we have done many sinful activities. So we have to be patient. So one of the important point actually, is in bhakti is the patience. So so actually there's a shloka, no, tatanukamba susumikshama bhunjana evan. So Lord Brahmaji is saying that a person who is a pure devotee of the Lord, like, is aiming to be a pure devotee of the Lord, he actually
Mm,
has to have a lot of patience. He has to be tolerant. He will think that actually the Lord should have given me much more punishments for so many sinful activities I've done. But actually, and he waits sincerely. He thinks that all the problems which are happening in his life is because of my past karma. And he very patiently wait for the Lord to shower mercy. So the Lord definitely will shower mercy. We should have faith. But then it will
mm,
not happen in a short period of time, in a few months or years. No, it may take lifetime. So one entire lifetime may be taken, because without bhakti, it takes many lifetimes. So it mentioned Bhunam
mm,
Janmana Mande Nanavan Mam Prabhadyante, right? Vasudeva Sarvamiri Samahatma Sudurlava. So in the normal course, it takes many lifetimes to become perfect. But our acharyas are given a process by which at least in one lifetime we can attain perfection. So we have to be patient, Prabhu. So it is not that the Lord is not merciful. The Lord actually is very merciful, but then we need to have patience, follow the acharyas, execute bhakti sincerely. Over the period of time, now over the years, we become purified. We can see that the changes are happening in our life. So right now, so initially we have only little faith called shraddha, right? Then we start associating with devotees, sadhu sangha. Then we start chanting bhajana kriya. Then the process of anartha nivritti stage is it takes a lot of time. So anartha nivritti
mm,
is the stage where we become purified. So all the anarthas are removed. So we have to
mm,
evaluate whether we have lost the attachment to various things. So this is the
mm,
stage of losing the attachment, or we become free from attachment. So most of us are still attached to so many things, right? So we have so many demands. No, we are not comfortable. So if you want to sleep in some other house also, no, we find difficult, right? Or in a
mm,
particular type of situations we need. So we are not comfortable. Or if there is not a particular kind of food, we are not happy. So when we, as long as we have these attachments or anarthas, unwanted things, we can understand that we are still in the purification process. So anartha nivritti stage take a lot of time. Then after that, once you're free from anartha nivritti, then the stage of nishta comes, right? Where actually we have strong faith, right? Nishta, then ruchi. Then we had, so after nishta only we develop actual taste of chanting the holy names, right? Then we have very strong attachment called asakti. Then after that, bhava comes and prema. So understand that no, it's a process. It takes time, right? So, and most of us get stuck. Getting free from the anartha nivritti stage, it's not easy. So that's why, Prabhu, we may feel initially that we're not making progress or no, Lord is not showing mercy, which is not true. We have to be patient.
Lot of patience.
Yes, patience is
Mhm.
required. So that's what no, we have to see the many devotees. No, earlier it used to take many lifetimes, right? So at least we are able to do it in one lifetime. So we have
Mm.
to have sincerity, follow the acharyas, execute bhakti. So slowly we'll
Mm.
see changes. No, you can see we may not sometimes realize change, but people around you they will notice what changes have happened once you have straightened bhakti. So we are in the purification stage now, but we are making
Mm.
definite progress, right? So that others can see, perceive it. We can also perceive it, right? So like that actually.
Mm.
Is it fine,
Thanks,
Prabhu?
Prabhu. Wonderful lecture.
No, no, no. I'll go list to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, we'll end here. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare. We'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.